Hello, everyone. We are live, and my fingers are crossed that the network is very kind this afternoon. There's probably going to be some echo, but you have to bear with us. Okay, with that said, let me ask my guest if she can get me, and then I'm going to start formally introducing ourselves. Good afternoon, Marcy.
Good afternoon, Marie.
Can you get me?
5 on 5.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Maria Banga, founder of the association Hope for the Abused and the Battered. I'm sorry if there's going to be some interface. I have to put my phone off. What can I tell you? So unfortunate. So we are going to do this, and we are going to try to spend 30 minutes together, 40 minutes to have this conversation. It's an informal conversation. I wish I had a cup of coffee. I don't know where the sound is coming from. I don't know if I should bother about it. What do I have going around here? Let me look for my second gadget and put it off. Okay. Is it better now? Marcy, are you getting any echoes?
I'm not getting any echo. I'm just surprised that you are talking about sounds. I thought maybe it's only at your end. I'm not getting anything. Everything is super.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, there. So this is it. Marcy, I call her Marcy. Her name is Marceline Mbongikshi. She's the founder of Health Improvement Initiative. And I am Maria Banga, and I am the founder of Hope for the Abused and the Battered. So we connected over social media, and I thought we could have a conversation because I've been having conversations with founders, right? Founders of organizations, to know some about them, their experience with the organizations, and what they are doing and what impact they have had so far, and what they can tell us, to kind of be the hope for people who are going through whatever challenge it is they're addressing. And one thing connects Marcy and I, we both talk about mental health. And I think that's even how we connected. So I had my face cap with me, which I will have worn, but I don't want to cover my face, right? So I'm going to let Marcy introduce herself to us, and then I'm going to play a video, and then we will continue. Over to you, Marcy.
Good afternoon, dear listeners and viewers. Thank you, Marie, for this opportunity. I am not taking it for granted. I'm happy to be on your show. That said, my name is Marceline, and I'm the founder of Health Improvement Initiative. My passion is in disease prevention and control because I studied public health. And then one thing led to the other, and then I founded Health Improvement Initiative. In addition to that, I am married, a mom of 2 kids, and I'm a Christian.
Okay, well, before you founded Health Improvement Initiative, there was probably a journey. So I want us to watch this video by our dearest Adiola. I mean, I actually got to know about her that much from watching your video. And yesterday I was watching something. She was analyzing some prophecies about the US elections, and it was just so funny. So when I want to laugh, I go and watch Adiola on YouTube. So, okay, let's watch this and then we'll be back.
So this next story is actually the story of a Cameroonian woman who is now helping other women who have trouble getting pregnant. And this story is not just for women who are hoping to get pregnant or have function is for people. So this is for everybody. If you're hoping to get married someday, you want to know about this because it may be useful when you're ready to have kids. And if you're a man, you know about this as well for your children's sake or for your grandchildren if you're not having kids. You know someone that is trying that this information will help. And I'm starting with a disclaimer. Please, I'm not saying that this is the solution for everyone that is trying to have kids. Everybody's situation is different, but it's able to be helpful for some people. Also, I'm not a doctor, so forgive me if my explanations are not really understand. But still, make sure that you talk to your doctor if you're trying to have just go by whatever I talk about on this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Marceline actually lives in Germany with her husband, and for 3 years after her pregnancy, she was unable to have a child. She was pregnant 3 different times and she had 3 miscarriages. So she was really desperate. She had health care in Germany and she did all kinds of testing until she asked the doctor to check if her tube was blocked. But that would require an operation. And so in order to do that operation, they had to do a blood test. So when they did a blood test, they checked her hemoglobin. And by the way, hemoglobin is contained in red blood cells that carries oxygen other cells in your body. So if your hemoglobin is low, then you're anemic. And anemia can cause other things, including severe fatigue. So people are just unnecessarily tired after doing things. It can cause heart problems and complications in pregnancy, among other things. It makes it hard for some women to carry a full term. For a normal woman, hemoglobin should be at least 13. For her, it was 6.7. She was really anemic and she didn't even know. Anemia affects about 2 million people worldwide, by the way. So for a lot of people, anemia and not even but the symptoms, some people will just always feel dizzy after in 2008, World Health Organization analysis reported that anemia was almost 25% of the world's population, including 42% of pregnant women. That's half of pregnant women, 30% of pregnant women, and 47% of preschool children. So it actually kills babies. Anemia can kill. But that statistics are better. Now it's 20% pregnant women that are anemic, 30% of non-pregnant women are anemic, and 43% of children are anemic. So the whole family should know about this. As for Marceline, they didn't do the surgery to know if her tube was blocked because the moment they found out that she was acutely anemic, they said to her, they said, this is the problem. So because when a woman is anemic, iron level is and the red blood cells are unable to carry oxygen to the body's tissues. So although it is normal to experience mild anemia during pregnancy due to increased blood volume, severe anemia may put a woman and her baby at risk of premature delivery, low birth weight, and for some women, it just prevents them from carrying a baby to full term. That's why some women would have a miscarriage. So they started treating anemia. Yeah, and they told her that it would take about 3 months to treat anemia. They gave her iron tablet. It was giving her constipation. So for an African in Germany, so recommended that she take liquid iron supplements. She took Floradix. That liquid iron supplement, and within 2 weeks, she was pregnant. Today, Marceline has 2 children, a boy and a girl, and she just couldn't keep this to herself because she realized that when a woman is not getting pregnant or her pregnancy, don't start by checking their well-being. That's her experience. They don't even think about that. But apparently, the reason why some women are not able to have kids. So today she travels the world, literally educating women about anemia. I first met her here at Harvard when I was invited to speak, but we didn't have enough time at that time. So this year, when I went back to Harvard, she also came back again from Germany as one of the speakers. So we exchanged contact, and that was when we started talking about this. So she said to me, Adiola, it is not the witches or the wizards. It is not, and it is not prayer from the pastor that push. You go to the hospital and check their hemoglobin. Tell people to check blood cells. They may be surprised. So first of all, if you're on getting married, please go to the doctor. Let them check your blood cells. If you're a parent, whether your children, whether your daughters know if they're anemic or not, it's very important to eat foods rich in iron, vitamins, broccoli, peas, greens, anything green. Eat a balanced diet. That's important. Also good to take iron supplements, especially for women who are menstruating, because you lose a lot of blood during menstruation. So in fact, you know that your bride is getting pregnant in the next 6 months, you need to start taking care of your body to prepare your body for the pregnancy. You should do some vitamins, prenatal vitamins. There are so many prenatal vitamins out there that supplement, that contain daily vitamins and minerals that you need before and during pregnancy. Folic acid, for example, what to take when you're planning a pregnancy. So Marceline told me that even after having a kid, that she almost lost her life due to anemia, because after she had the kid, she died, and the anemia came back, and now it was giving her excruciating headache. That's how she said, excruciating headache, which is one of the symptoms of anemia, by the way. So some people, they will just have all this brain, all this headache that they cannot explain. You may be surprised if you think it's anemia. And it's because anemia can also prevent having enough oxygen circulating in the brain. So she wants to complain about it. But when they checked her, do you know that they had to give her 6 things of blood, like immediately? The doctor said to her that her brain could shut down at any time to not having enough red blood cells. I was like, what? Her body had adapted to it, and so she didn't feel like she was sick. She just knew that she had headache. So when the doctors asked her, how have you been survived? She said, I look at doctor. So by the way, anemia causes concentration problem. For some people, it's like when you're reading a sentence over and over 5, 6 times, you're still not getting it. It might be tired or it may be anemia. Not in all cases, but sometimes. So check it out. So after having they prescribed iron supplement to 8 different women that she knew who were having trouble getting pregnant, and all of them got pregnant as kids. I was like, wow. Then one of them had today she traveled around the world educating women, and she's been to Nigeria, Cameroon, Liberia. She speaks with her. She's going to Kenya and South Africa. So she collaborates with medical doctors, and they do all kinds of medical outreaches. Next time we should also talk about blood pressure, because the rate at which people are just labs in Nigeria is alarming. Marceline has a master's in public health, and if anyone would like to invite her at their church, or event, contact her via this email. Also, if you would like to support what she's doing, because do you know that she's been spending her own money to travel around with women? I was like, okay, so please contact her, like, support her as well. Support her website that she's been doing. I mean, we see her turn her something that she's using for other women. So we're so proud of you. Thank you so much, sis. You guys are doing it. I'm just keeping it real.
Mercy,
Yes.
you tell me your story now. Tell it to me like you tell it to us Africans. I mean, Abiola has said it in the professional way, using Harvard and all of that. Tell it to me like you can tell it to your African sister. And then we
Ah,
can move on to it now.
my journey is an interesting one. My journey to motherhood is really an interesting story. Just as you said, Adiola actually really put it in a professional way. So let me put it in a way that everybody will understand. First things first, being an African, coming from having this, our culture, African culture, when you get married, the next thing is everybody is putting an eye on you. Is she already pregnant? Why is she not yet getting pregnant? And things like that. So I've also been that kind of mom. Well, when I was studying, I was also dreaming of a career, being a mom, having my kids, and living a happy life. So after my studies, when I met my husband when I was still studying. So after my studies, we eventually got married, and we were really excited, then looking forward to starting a very beautiful family. But as I will always say, things are never the way you plan. That at times you plan, but God will plan in a different way. So days kept turning into weeks, weeks to months, months to years. No cry of any baby, no pregnancy, nothing, nothing. So I'm really actually blessed to be married to the kind of man I'm married to, because despite despite this long wait for all these years, he was never bothered. I just remember that he kept reassuring me, where is your faith? God's time is the best. Stop getting worried. And there was never a time even my in-laws would ask me or confront me. Maybe they would talk to their son. I don't know. I didn't know anything. But the pressure was on me. I was like, no, it's time for me to start a family. So what is going on? So it was, I think, 3.5 years into marriage. I've been to my gynecologist, and I was always being reassured that everything was fine, everything was super perfect. One time I just took matters into my own hands when I went to my gynecologist and I told him, you can't keep reassuring me everything is fine, everything is perfect. Something should be wrong. If everything was perfect, then I should have been pregnant by now. So it means there's something wrong. So I proposed to my gynecologist that he should check if my tubes were blocked, because I know that most women, their tubes are blocked and then they are not able to become pregnant. And the moment they realize that your tubes are blocked and they are flushed or cleaned, and then you immediately become pregnant. It's just going to be a matter of days. You become pregnant. So I proposed to him that, please, can you check if my tubes were blocked? And he gave me the option that I should choose, my husband and I should choose if we are going to do it in his clinic or we'll go to the main hospital. So it didn't take us 2 minutes to decide that we're going to do it. We're going to go to the main hospital to do the I call it procedure, not an operation, a procedure. So we had made all arrangements with the necessary specialists, and then the day came and we're so excited. Very early in the morning, I'd gotten up, taken my shower, said my prayers, and then my husband accompanied me. The procedure was scheduled for 6:30 a.m. So 6, we were already in the hospital and we were waiting. And first things first, when you arrive at the hospital, a blood test was made. So while I was awaiting my blood test, I was sent to my room and was asked to change already. So to put on will I say, the uniform or whatever you put when you're in the hospital. And then I was allocated my ward. So I was sitting there waiting. I just kept looking at my watch and I realized that it was turning to 5 minutes, 10, 20, 1 hour, 2 hours. There was just no doctor coming. But this is a procedure that was scheduled for 6:30 and it was already 9:15 a.m. when the doctor, accompanied with other nurses, showed up in my ward where I was with two other patients. So the two other patients were attended to, then it was now my turn. When this lady came to me, she was like, "Your blood is not fine." Honestly, Marie, each time I share my story, I usually don't say this part, but I will say it today. When the doctor came to me and said, "Your blood is not fine," I didn't even allow her to even complete her sentence, to say what she wanted to say. Immediately I heard, "Your blood is not fine," I just burst into tears. And I was like, "No, what do you mean by your blood is not fine? I don't have HIV and AIDS." This lady didn't say that I had HIV and AIDS. I just said I don't have HIV and AIDS. I'm fine, even before I ever left my country. Da da da. I said all those things. I didn't give her any breathing space to explain. I kept talking. And then at one point, I was already sobbing. I had cried and I was sobbing. And then I stopped. And she asked me, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Yes. What do you have to tell me again? Any other thing? Is there any other thing worse than what you just told me?" She said, "What she's about to tell me has nothing to do with HIV and AIDS." She said, "You are very, very anemic." And I'm like, "What do you mean by you are very, very anemic?" She said, "Your red blood cells are very low." And she believes that with what she's seeing, the values that she's seeing, I can look for a child for the next 100 years and I will not have to. And she said the normal value for a woman is 13, but I had 5. So
Oh,
she said
no.
the procedure was not necessary, and she advised that I go to my house doctor for him to put me on iron treatment. And I asked her, "Iron treatment, how long is that going to take?" She said, "Maximum 3 months." And then I
Wow.
asked her, "Are you sure after that everything will be?" She said, "Perfect." That she's not confident, she doesn't believe that I have anything to do, any problem with my tubes. I said, "Okay." Immediately I left the hospital, I went straight to the house. So my husband was shocked to see me. I'm like, it's not my ghost, it's me. Because he was supposed to come pick me up. I'm like, "It's not my ghost, it's me." And he's like, "What?" I said, "Please, do you know what?" At that time, my German was not really that good because I studied in Sweden. So now I moved to Germany when I got married. So I was still learning the language. I had learned the language, but I wasn't very fluent in the language. So I'm like, "You know what? Just send me to a doctor who speaks English because I have a lot of questions to ask." He said, "Okay." So he directed me to an internist. This guy was really super. He studied in England, so he speaks perfect English. So I went without even any appointment, and I was so blessed that I was received just like that. And when the nurse asked me to sit in the waiting room, when she took my file, the book I brought from the hospital, so I handed it to her. When she looked at it, she asked me to wait in the waiting room. So I sat there waiting. And then when it was my turn, when it was my turn, I went to meet the doctor. The doctor just looked at my book and he said, "How have you been surviving?" I'm like, "What do you mean, how have you been surviving?" And he said, "By the way, what did you even want before you realized you had this problem?" I'm like, "Doctor, I'm hustling for a child." I said, "I'm hustling. I need a child." And he said, "You are really anemic." And he said, "Have you not been feeling so tired? Don't you have headache?" He was just asking some type of question. And I turned and I looked at him. I'm like, "Do I look sick? I'm this healthy, huge lady standing there, and somebody is asking me, have you not been like this, and that?" No, I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm fine." And the irony is that, Marie, my system had adapted to
That's
the
what I was about to
anemia.
say.
Yeah, that for me everything was normal. Even the headaches was normal. Even the tiredness for me was normal. Everything was fine. So I couldn't believe I was sick. And the man said one thing that haunted me even after I had my kids. That was where I found my purpose. He said many African women suffer from iron deficiency anemia, and the sad thing about it is that they are not even aware. I said, okay. So he gave me iron tablets. When I took those iron tablets, 1 week, I couldn't because I was really suffering from severe constipation. But then I didn't know, I just knew it was iron tablets. I had to keep taking these iron tablets. So one day I was just walking with my husband, we're just walking in the street, and I met this lady, and I always say it's my guardian angel. She's one of the nurses that was on duty the day I was told about anemia. She recognized me, but I didn't recognize her. And she said, she moved towards us and she said, "Hi, have you been to the doctor?" I said, "Yes, I've been there." And she said, "What did he prescribe?" I said, "Iron tablets." She said, "Don't take them any longer because you will find yourself in the emergency." Most often when women get that, they find themselves in the emergency because of constipation. And I'm like, I haven't been to the toilet for days. She said,
Oh,
"Don't take
no.
them." Yes. She said, "Go and get Floradix." I'm like, "What?" She said, "Go and get Floradix. You will not have any side effects. You will not have any constipation." And I asked, "Where should I get it?" She said, "Either I go to a reform house." A reform house is like a shop where they sell natural products. She said, "You go to a reform house or you go to the pharmacy and you'll get it from there." Immediately, I rushed. It was just 2 minutes away from where we were standing. I went to the reform house and I just get 2 bottles. I got 2 bottles of this Floradix. When I went home, I read about Floradix. I took Floradix. Marie, you'll be shocked. Within 2 weeks, I was pregnant.
Hey,
Yeah. Within 2 weeks, I was pregnant.
Jesus.
So I took 1 bottle for 1 week. And then I started the second bottle. I had not even gone half. I was pregnant. 2 months later, I had a miscarriage. But that was fine with me. I was even happy because I'm like, God, thank you. You even made me to understand that I was even able to become pregnant before even having a miscarriage. So that didn't even bother me. I continued taking my Floradix because I just realized my iron had been improving, but it was not yet really normal. I had not yet had those very healthy iron in me. So I had to keep taking my supplement so that I would build those healthy iron. So I continued taking, and then I was pregnant again a couple of months later. Then sadly, I had a second miscarriage 4 months after I had a second miscarriage. That was the one that almost made me to have some mental disorder. So then after the third miscarriage, I still kept taking my Floradix. So it was just for you to understand how low my blood supplement, my iron was, and how abnormal even my iron was. So I really needed to take my supplements to get to that normal level again and to have healthy iron. Healthy hemoglobins, healthy hemoglobins before a pregnancy would even stay. So after that, after the third miscarriage, I was just like, my husband told me, you know what, children or no children, life has to continue. Let's just take a break. So taking a break doesn't mean that I didn't continue taking my magnesium and my Floradix. I kept taking them. So when I was now pregnant for my first daughter, that's my fourth pregnancy, it stood the test of time. So 9 months after, I had my beautiful baby girl, no stress, no problems. And I was like, it has taken me a long time before I became pregnant. And then the whole process again of miscarriages and all those things. I will not do like how they say a white man does to start spacing children. So I'm like, 6 months, I will stop breastfeeding and I'm going in for the second. And that was exactly what I did. And then I was blessed with a boy. So I had two beautiful children. And when my boy was 2, that statement kept haunting me. Many African women suffer from iron deficiency anemia, and the sad thing about it is that they don't know. that was how I found my purpose. I'm like, it's time for me to give back. Because from the beginning, when I kept hearing that voice, I was ignoring it. When I was hearing that voice, I kept ignoring it. But at one point, I couldn't any longer. I was like, okay, I think now is the time for me to give back. So I had been with other women. We were just talking. We usually just chat. And a couple of women who've not had children, those who've been struggling, those who are longing to have and they are not able to have. So I shared my story just like that. And when this lady, I told her, but I usually advise people to go and make a blood test so that it confirms that you are, first of all, anemic before you get supplement. Because I know that when you have enough iron and you increase your iron, it's going to give you other complications. You have complications with your other vital organs. So usually I always advise that you do, if it is for a treatment, like the kind of treatment that I took, then I'll advise you to go first for a hemoglobin test. So I talked with a couple of women. I I advised them, I recommended them to get the iron supplement, the Floradix, which they took. And just like that, some became pregnant, others, their health actually improved. Those who had been complaining of headache, tiredness, lack of concentration, and all those type of things, lack of appetite, cold hands and feet, and things like that, because those were some of the symptoms I was having. This cold hand, whether it's summer or it's winter, my legs and my hands are always very cold. So most of the people that I talked to, they found themselves, their health improving. So that was how I thought, if in the developed world, people are still uninformed like myself, what about the people back at home whom, when they are not able to have kids, the first thing is that this grandma has bewitched me, or this auntie, or this, in fact, that mindset of always believing that somebody must have done something, or those who always ignore the fact that they even can go for regular checkups and would think that no, they should rush back to the church for pastors to lay hands and prayers. People shouldn't get me wrong. As I say, I'm a Christian. I'm not saying that prayers don't work, but I'm one person who believes that if somebody is sick, or if there's any, people have to go for medical checkups, then prayers will also help. But not that you just avoid going for checkups or visiting the hospital and just thinking that no, it's only to the pastor. Only the pastor has to pray, and they put his hand and he puts his hands on you, and then you will definitely get well. So that's not. So I always try to also change the mindset of many of our sisters. So that's how I started. I said charity begins at home. So I started by buying these iron supplements. And in addition to that, I remember that each time I visited Cameroon, when I asked for somebody, they said, "Hi, he collapsed and he died. He collapsed and he died. He collapsed." I'm like, what do people mean by collapse and die? I didn't know that they call high blood pressure collapse and die. So when I bought those supplements and I bought a lot of blood pressure machines, my intention was like 1 person is to 1 blood pressure machine. And the women that I'm going to sensitize, they were going to have those iron supplements. So I gave them out for free. But before I traveled, when I had bought those things and shipped them to Cameroon, I was in contact with one student journalist. I sent him money, and he did some publicity in the radio and then posters and things like that. Mary, it was overwhelming when I went home. The turnout was unbelievable. I was shocked. And I asked myself, what have you gotten yourself into? How will you manage this? So I had who four nurses who volunteered to assist me during my projects. So when I went down, in Bamenda, we had this awareness project in December. So we did it in a way that I did 2 different projects in 2 different places. So we started in Bamenda. No, we started in Kumbo, in my husband's place. We started there. So the turnout, as I said, was really overwhelming. We did the awareness campaign, high blood pressure. During that campaign, many people would never even know that they had high blood pressure, knew that they had high blood pressure. I remember that during that awareness project, a lady died because of high blood pressure. She just collapsed and she died. Yeah. And when I tried to find out what even her problem was, I realized her medication was just 300 francs. but she was even unable to have those drugs just for 300 francs. So we did that. We finished. And then the anemia, there were women who, when we were raising awareness and I was talking about the symptoms, the risk factors, and I was explaining, and there were women amongst others in the group who had been suffering from these multiple miscarriages as well, who came forward. There were some that we sent to the hospital for medical tests in order to confirm. We did that, and the results, the feedback was good. Some were pregnant, some didn't have miscarriages again. And as I said, it's not only about pregnancy. If your child is not able to concentrate, not only your child, even you, there were moments that I used to read one sentence 10 times. It's just afterwards that I realized that it was really the anemia that was disturbing me. You cannot concentrate. You read one sentence even 10 times. And then I didn't even know that as a woman, when you miscarry, you lose iron. I mean, not miscarry, I beg your pardon. When you are menstruating, you lose iron. And when you lose,
know. I'm just learning. I'm so quiet. I'm just learning.
When you are menstruating every month, you lose iron, which
I'm
means
actually in my period.
Yeah, which means that you have to be replacing this iron that you are losing, because it affects you in many ways that you don't know. At times you just realize that you're always tired. You are always tired. Even when you don't do anything, you just know that you're tired. You cannot understand why you're tired. Those are symptoms of anemia. And then you're having this headache. You think that it's normal headache. Oh, I have headache. It's normal headache. I'm not saying that you cannot have a natural headache, but most often when you're having this light headache that you don't even know what the hell is going on, you realize that it's anemia. Like as Adiola said, even after I had my children, at one point I was negligent. I was having this excruciating pain, headache that I wasn't understanding. And I kept telling my husband, something is wrong with me. Something is wrong with me. Maybe I need an MRI. They should check if my brain is okay. I was thinking that maybe I even had cancer. I was trying to dismiss that thought. And he said, go to your doctor. I remember this day that I went to my doctor and he said, it's been a while since you came for an iron, for a blood test. So he took my blood. And then he said he will still refer me if I'm still insisting, but he will advise that I be patient from the results of the blood test. Then we'll move further. Then he will know if he's sending me to a specialist to do a scan. Marie, a week later, I remember this early morning, I was preparing my kids for school when the phone rang. And I was like, who can be calling me this early morning? When I picked that phone, they were like, come immediately. Stop whatever you are doing and come immediately. I was like, maybe I'm going to take the death warrant, or I don't know what is happening. I woke my husband up and said, please, can you continue helping me with the kids? I have to go to the doctor. He said, okay. When I went, the guy told me, you need blood. Your iron is terribly low. And that is where this excruciating headache is coming from. You don't have enough oxygen that is circulating in your brain, which means that your brain can shut down at any time. Yeah, so those are some of the consequences of anemia. So there I had to take blood. I had to come back to the house to finish and make sure that my kids go to school. Then call that I cannot come to work before I go to the doctor. So every week I was taking a pint of blood. Every week I was taking a pint of blood. So I took 6. And then in addition to that now, I had to change my diet. Me, for example, I'm somebody who have a heavy period, which means that I definitely just need to be taking supplements. No matter how I eat, after my period, I need supplements. Because after my period, if I just keep accumulating and I'm not bothering, it will get back to that level. So, because during period, I lose iron, which happens with every woman. But the thing is that it depends on women have normal periods, some have heavy periods like myself.
Myself
too. Yeah.
Oh my, I'm getting mine.
Yeah, and it's not only even about the period thing also, because nutrition is another issue, Marie. Nutrition. We have to learn to eat iron fortified food.
Like
you need something like vegetables. green, everything green. You need vegetable. There are some that I don't know if we have them in Cameroon. I'm sorry, we might have it. I don't know. We need things like broccoli. You need to eat meat. You need. I know. On the other hand, somebody will tell you that oh, meat is not very healthy. That's true.
Broccoli
But
is
when it
normal,
comes to
it's
anemia,
expensive.
you need the meat for the iron. You need the meat. So you need all those green leaves. You need them. You need vegetable. You need cereal. All those iron fortified. People can just check them. You need them, and you need to give them to your children, even to your daughters. You need them. So
Okay,
that was
Mercy.
how the health improvement initiative came about. I
Mhm.
found myself when I spoke to people. Thank God. Usually, I've learned to be very selective. I like to be around people who can add value to my life.
Mhm.
That was how I found myself one day. Somebody told me, "You are doing a great job. I need to introduce you to somebody."
Mhm.
That's how I found myself in Harvard. And
Wow.
every year I was being invited to talk. Not only on for this summit, there's this yearly health summit. They call it Global Health Catalyst in
Mm.
Harvard. So it is something that is every year, and I've been going there. I think the first time I went was 2017 or something. Yeah. So I've been there since 2017. Apart from this year that COVID struck and people were not allowed to travel again. So when I went there, I always present the project. So I did it in such a way that I do projects every year not only in Cameroon. I've been to Nigeria. I've also done projects here. I have other plans. The trip to Kenya was cancelled because something came up and we had to cancel the Kenya trip. Things are already on the way for South Africa. It's just because of COVID, a lot of things have stopped. So, but the moment life comes back to normal, we'll continue our projects. Yeah.
Okay, okay, Mercy, thank you for sharing. I want to focus now on mental health
Yeah.
because I cannot imagine what you were going through mentally and what other women can be going through and other people, even the people around them. And they might not be able to talk about it because they don't know what to say and they don't know who will believe them. You know the way we are here now. If you just start over complaining about being depressed, people will say, whoa, you know, so you would rather shut up, stuff like that. So just tell me something because I know you also are passionate about mental health. How was your mental health affected and how did you come out of it?
I will talk about my mental health in relation to my anemia problem with the pregnancy thing. That's how I focus more on on the mental health. So I remember that at times there's nothing like mentally you are strong, mentally you are strong. No, 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 no. When you are desperately in need of something, or you desperately want something and you are not getting it, at one point in your life you start getting stressed up. Like as I said, our culture, when you are married, the next thing is you want babies. And when
You
babies
were
are not
feeling that pressure yourself, right?
yes, and when babies are not forthcoming, mentally, emotionally, you are not fit. And one of the things that will even affect women from even having kids, as I will say, is when when you keep putting pressure on you, when emotionally you are always thinking and you are too stressed up, all those things will not happen. You really have to be relaxed. So back to me, I was putting a lot of pressure on me, despite the fact that I had a very supportive husband. It is only later on that I even found out that he made me to understand when my daughter was born. When our daughter was born, he said, we were having one of our chats one day, and he just started laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing? And he said, he just thought of his mom and he remembered something. I said, what? Then he said, when we were seeing the struggle, he said the mom asked him, what is happening? What is happening? You people are not having children. What are you people waiting for? And he just closed his mom and told his mom that for now we have decided that we don't want to have kids.
Oh,
That when we'll be ready, we will let you know. And the mom asked, is it her decision or it is your decision? And he said, it is our decision that we sat
oh,
and
so
thought about it.
sweet.
Yeah. So that's to let you know that if I had even imagined one moment, or if my mother-in-law had asked me something like that, or if my sister-in-laws, or even my own mother or my parents, in fact, or my family as well, if they were asking me something like that,
You will
I
have
would
blown
have,
up.
yeah. So my mental health problem was more about me. What are people thinking? What are people saying? That up to now she has not yet had a child. And me on my own part, oh, I'm not growing young any longer. I'm already getting old. Why is this thing happening? So, to be honest, and then this stigma, if you are not having a child, this is it, you have there's a problem. So when we are talking about this mental health embodies in fact a whole lot of things. I was
Yeah.
depressed when I had that second miscarriage, because in the
Mm.
back of my mind, I'm like, I can't carry a pregnancy for 4 months. Then I am induced to have a dead baby, and I saw this dead baby, because you don't just go and they don't, I don't know how to say it, because he was already a child. I was induced, I was in labor, and I had this baby that I saw. So really, I'm like, I can't take this any longer. So I don't remember. I wasn't able to sleep when I came back out. When I was out of the hospital, I wasn't able to sleep, because I kept having that image in me. I kept having that image in me. So to find solace, I just told my husband, you know what? I just need to be around my family. So when psychologically something is wrong, when you are not fine,
You had to go
be
and find
around,
support.
yeah, be around people who love you. Be
Mm.
around people who care, who understand what you're going through. So I just bought a flight 2 days after I came back from the hospital, and I was in Cameroon. I was with my family within 3 weeks before I came back. I
Mercy,
came back strong mentally and psychologically.
Mercy,
Yeah.
Mercy, thank you. We've been on for like 51 minutes and I'm going to wrap up. But
Mhm.
what I want to say is that we see how mental health is, it's present everywhere. Anemia, that was a physical thing, but it made you, it made you go through all what you went through, and we
Absolutely.
cannot avoid it. So when we want to keep having the conversation, it's so that people realize that it is something so normal. Indeed, this morning I read something about Joe Biden and how he had been so mentally challenged until he was at the brink of suicide when he lost his first wife and daughter in an accident.
Yeah.
That's the man who is president-elect today. I live with post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been through so much trauma in my life, but here I am. So there you
Absolutely.
are. So people should listen to us and realize it's not a taboo to talk about mental health, because anything can challenge you, can life hits you from all angles, and then the stress, the pressure, whether you put on yourself or people put on you. We are human beings, we are social beings, we have a brain. It picks up things, you have all kinds of things going on. So that is really what I wanted us to point out, because people sometimes think, oh no, it's my village people, I'll
No.
pray for you, go and do night vigils. Sometimes those things actually traumatize you all over again.
Yeah,
Because
when you
see, it was an iron deficiency, Mercy. And for years you had been thinking and probably doing all kinds of tests and thinking of who in the village, who doesn't like you. Sometimes you are suspecting everybody and all of that.
absolutely, absolutely. You always think, did I do something wrong? What is it? Who is hitting me? What is happening? You keep having all these questions in your mind. And at the end, in most cases, you realize that it has really nothing to do with anybody that has bewitched you or that has done anything. So I always advise people, health is wealth. Knowledge is power. I
Oh
was
my
so
goodness.
ignorant. So I am always being guided by the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, where they said, my people perish due to lack of knowledge. That is a verse in the Bible that keeps me going during my projects and my awareness, during these awareness campaigns. Most of the time, people don't do things not because they don't want at times, but because they are not aware, because they don't have the knowledge. If I had known earlier, I would have probably known that I was suffering from anemia, but I didn't. So did I also realize with a lot of women when I was talking with them, even here in the diaspora, that they were
Wow.
also as ignorant as as I was before. Even back with this mental thing, I also realized when I even started organizing yearly health events. Last year we talked about mental health. Today, and this year one of our speakers was a psychiatrist, and she also spoke on mental health.
I attended.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of people in the our African brothers and sisters in the diaspora, some of us are really in denial. We suffer from depression, addiction, but we are in denial. We think that it's a white man's thing. There's just nothing like a white man's
Even
thing
back
when
home.
it comes to mental health. Yeah. When it comes, I'm even talking more here because like the people that I really see all the time, how I surround myself, the people I surround myself with. So you will just realize that people have a lot of problems, but they are in denial. I don't know why when somebody thinks that you are depressed, it's a problem, it's a taboo. No, it's normal. It's good to talk about it.
And you can beat it.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mercy. So this is Floradix, which I am holding.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Say
But you know,
you want to come and get
I'm
Floradix
starting
for
to take
themselves,
mine.
for
I'm
their
starting
daughters.
to take mine because I usually get so tired in the evenings. There are times when I go back home, I just stay in bed and I eat there and I sleep there. The kids come into the room to spend time with me.
Yeah.
Like I have all the energy, but once I just go back home like that, I flatten out.
When people go to the website, I have just a few testimonies because the website was just updated. So I have a lot to still update on the website. So if you go there, I think there are two testimonies as of now that we just put. We'll add the rest of those testimonies there. Testimony, the two that are there, one is for somebody who had a child who had been suffering and hoping, and then the other one was for somebody maybe like you with the tiredness and the headaches and everything, and she
And
didn't know
they
that,
gave you
not that she
flow.
wanted, yeah, not that she wanted a child or whatever, but when she took it, her immune system was bam, she
I'm
was
starting.
fit again. All those tiredness things. I don't want to really talk too much. I want that people who will talk too much will even be those who've taken it and would
I am.
testify.
I am
Because at
starting.
times when you say if somebody will think that is because you probably maybe want to sell or what, I used to give them for free. It's
My
just
health
that
is very
yeah,
important too.
that's it.
So Mercy, we have 250. This is what I got, 250, and the
500.
bigger one, 500. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So 250, 500. How do we take it?
For
What the immune
children,
system sends.
from 6 to 12, 6 to 10 years,
Mhm.
is 15 milliliters. It is inside. There's a cup inside, 15
Ah,
milliliters. Yeah, there's a cup inside. You take morning and evening, and then you take 20 minutes before you eat because it works better when you drink before eating. You don't eat, then you drink. You take it 20 minutes before eating.
so I should have taken now because I've never had lunch.
Yeah. In any case, no matter how you want to take it, let it be 20 minutes before meal. And then
If I
when
take
you
10
open the
minutes before,
bottle, when you
I'm
open the
hungry.
bottle, it's good to put in the fridge. When you open it, then store it in the fridge. For
So
those
it's
who don't
better
have
to
fridge,
take it in the evening. Yeah, for me.
for those who don't have
Okay.
fridge, we always improvise. I tell them, well, I remember back in the village when we used to be in the village without fridge or electricity. I'm like, you carry water in a jar or in a bucket, and then you stand it in one corner of the house, and then you put it inside.
Okay. And you take it once a day or twice a day or three times a day.
For children between 6 and 10, 2 times a day. Then for adults, you can take 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening.
But it's going to get feeling quick.
That is when but you will start feeling your body also. You can still take 2 times like children. You can take 2 times like children if you don't want it to get finished. You can take 2 times. It will still work. It will still do the same thing. But for somebody who, if you have been so like if you had that my kind of five, the value that five that I had, I don't think I'll have time for one in the morning. I would have to take maybe 3 times a day. 2 times a day is okay. You will not have to. You will not take one. It's at least twice a day. 15 milliliters.
Okay, Mercy. So let me just do this summary. It is good to first go and get tested in the hospital.
Not necessarily. I mean, for those who are looking
Yeah, I
for
mean, for yes.
for a woman who has been menstruating and what you don't need to be taking Floradix every month, every month, every month. I take it every month because I know you can take it once every 2 months. For
Okay.
somebody who have a heavy flow, you can take once every 2 months. You can still choose to take every month depending on how your period flows. But for children, my daughter is anemic. My daughter is
Oh,
anemic. Yeah, she was
she got that
diagnosed.
from you.
Yeah, and thank God, as I said, I could never imagine that a child like her would be anemic. Luckily enough, in the US, before children are enrolled in school, they are recommended for a medical test. So that was when they realized that she was anemic. I could not even imagine. She was born in Germany, but at the time she was diagnosed, we were living in the US. So I came back to Germany for her treatment because it was too complicated in the US with their. I had to be paying things from my pocket, out of pocket, this because insurance or what. I came back now to Germany for my child to have a proper treatment. But the thing is that even till now, she still suffers from it. When she is on supplement, and then like yesterday, Wednesday, we were at the doctor. They took her blood specimen, and then they'll definitely give me an iron supplement for her. So she has to
Okay.
keep taking it. We've been trying to make sure that she eats iron fortified meals, but accompanied with some at least some sort of supplement. Because if your body doesn't digest iron, it's another problem. So I always advise that when people take iron supplement, it's also good to take maybe vitamin C or eat fruits so that it will absorb the iron.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Mercy, before we close now, how much is the 250?
The
Just so that those
250.
who are watching might hear, I know people will call, contact, but at least.
The 250 is 20,000, and
Okay. And the
then the
500.
yes, and then the 500 is 28,000. I just thought that maybe it should be within reach for people to be able to afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Well,
because
from the
somebody will
beginning,
ask you
health
that
has no
how is
price.
it that you say 20 and then the other one is somebody would have expected that I said 40.
40, yeah, or
Yes,
30,
that is
35,
it. Yeah,
40.
35. That is it. So from the beginning, I was like, okay, well, this thing, I really want people to be able to have this to help them. It's not really business; it's to help people. So it's 20 and 30. Yeah,
Okay, well,
30.
I mean, as a typical African, I'll take the 500 so that it can stay.
Marie, please, I don't want to laugh.
No, no, no. We have
You
to
want me
laugh
to
because
stay? No,
as
she
we
said
are
she wants me to stay.
as we are wrapping up now, it's good to laugh. Sometimes in life we are too serious, and we are also talking about mental health.
Yeah,
Humor is one good way of dealing with our challenges in life. I think that in moments where you were really stressed up, when your husband made you laugh or smile, you relax some, instead of always being
absolutely,
on the edge, taking things so seriously. So I really
absolutely.
want to thank you, Mercy. And if you have any final thing to say before I check out, I have another webinar, but
Okay. Thank you. I would just want to advise our viewers that please make sure you visit your healthcare provider. Go for medical checkup before you start thinking that any witch or wizard is eating your child or is eating your stomach. Please go for a medical checkup because there's one thing that I even forgot mentioning, that most of the women also who are not able to have kids, apart from this iron deficiency anemia, is also because they've been having STDs, STIs, which are not whom they haven't STDs that they haven't treated properly. I'm talking in the aspect of reproductive health. They have not treated it properly, and it has actually destroyed their system.
oh,
But they will only be thinking that, oh, why am I not having child? Somebody has done the nobody has done anything. Most often on badly treated STDs, STIs cause you to be unable to become pregnant. So people, please visit your healthcare provider. Go for medical checkup. take your iron supplements. This one is good because it is made out of natural herbs. It's not chemical.
So
Yeah.
very
No
limited size, no side effects.
no
Okay.
side effects, no constipation.
Well, you know me now, I will take it and then I will do a review. If I
Absolutely.
just take it and I feel like I'm like, oh, but I'm not
Yeah.
so sure. I
That
mean, with the good testimony you had taking it, my goodness, wow, this is good. This is good. Mercy, so if people go to your website, they can also contact you, right? They can send an email, stuff like that.
um maybe I should just give my email because on my website, as I said, I just updated the website and the telephone number is yet to be updated. So next week we'll change even the number. If they go
Okay.
to the website, they can still get me through
Yes.
info at
No, I'm just putting your. Can I put your own email because I saw it on the Adiola
yes,
video?
absolutely, yeah. Marceline
marceatanga@gmail.com.
yes,
Very
yeah.
simple.
That's where people have been contacting me through this email address, the
Ah,
Marcy Atanga at.
okay.
I had to give email address because at one point my telephone was just ringing even through ungodly hours, and I give appointments and then we talk on the phone. I don't want people just calling like that. But if
Okay.
anybody reaches out to me via my email, you definitely have a response.
That's true. Mercy, thank you so much. Now you know we are together. We are here for each other. We have to keep talking, because some people don't get it the first time, they get it the second time, or some other person listens for the first time. You never know who is
Yeah,
listening, who is watching, and even if we get a little hesitant or tired sometimes because we are like, oh, we keep saying the same thing over and over. We shouldn't, because it took us to a lot to finally come to understand it very well. I
yeah,
remember you saying at some point you were even negligent and then you had sort of a relapse and then
yeah,
realized, oh, this is a lifetime thing. It's a
yeah,
constant
yeah.
struggle and journey. And so, better safe than sorry. Consult your doctor, reach
Prevention is
out.
better than cure.
Prevention is better than cure. Healthy diet.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that I eat too healthy. I eat expensive things. I was like, my health is worth that meal. Let me better spend 5,000 and eat healthy,
Than
than
to
to eat
spend
anyhow,
millions for
fall sick,
treatment.
and go and spend that in the hospital plus lying down and everything. I get up and do sports every day. There are days when I don't feel like this morning, but I did it, and I told myself, if you do it, your treat will be a smoothie you make yourself. Just the pleasure of doing that. And those are all healthy things. So when I see that diagram, I'm like, oh, I'm on the right track.
Yeah, yeah, on the right
It's
track.
true that meat is
Eating
not so
healthy.
good. I don't really like it. My family has a history of gout, but sometimes I take it because, well, that's a good source for iron too, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good source for iron and calcium. Meat.
Aha.
You must not necessarily eat only meat. There are types of you can eat fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Eggs.
also eat fish. Yeah, and you have it there. You can also
Okay.
eat fish. Mm.
Marcy,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for having me. I should be the one thanking you for having me, and thank you for this opportunity. I hope people have learned something and that they will give us feedback.
I have learned something.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mercy, I hope you also shared now, and we really appreciate. And then your summit recently was so good, and I learned a lot. Those speakers were all experts in their different experts. Where can somebody go and watch the recording, or is there a summary somewhere or stuff like
Oh
that?
yes, I already sent when I sent a mail thanking those who participated. I said the recording will be up in the days ahead. Next week, I'm going to put up the recording
Yes, because I got
on
that
the
mail and I did not
website.
see the link on the
I want
website.
people to go to the website.
Okay, I will go to the website. Bye bye,
On
Mercy.
the
Thank you so
website.
much,
Bye
everybody
bye.
who watched. Oh,
Thank you. Bye.
bye.